Wife might be cheating today. Is it worth the effort to catch her in the act or get proof? After you get a lawyer, consider doing the following. 1. Get your own cell phone account. 2. Get a credit card in your name only. 3. Get a post office box or some other place where you can receive mail without the possibility of your wife intercepting your private communications, including letters from your divorce lawyer. 4. Open a bank account in your name only. 5. Get your own email account. 6. Separate and remove, or photocopy, important papers. 7. Take photos of personal property in the marital home, in case something of yours comes up missing later. Run the above list by your attorney first, of course, as every divorce case is unique, but often it's best to start separating your own financial and material possessions from your wife as soon as it's feasible. I'm a lawyer, not located in Michigan though. Proof is always better. In general though, most states are no-fault divorce, which means that it doesn't matter why you are divorcing. It is all the same. The only real reason usually to get proof of the infidelity is to back up your story to any sort of judge so that you make sure there is no real support you owe to her. Also, on the horrible chance she gets pregnant, the legal implication is that since it happens while you were married, it is yours. As long as you state at some point she was cheating on me, it'd probably be okay in a child support arena, but pictures are worth 1,000 words. It is always better to have proof of the infidelity, and 18 years worth of child support is a dang good reason to attempt to get the photos. There are legal reasons as to why children are sometimes precluded from a DNA test, so it's not always so simple to get one as you may think. There are some states which still have fault-based divorce, but almost no one uses that form anymore. Even in the states which still have it on the books, courts still use the no-fault standard. The entire purpose of having photos proof of the infidelity is to head off any support, alimony etc. arguments. I am not sure whether Michigan is a no-fault state, but it would be easy enough to find out. Send me a PM if you want to have a specific question. Technically, the other reason to have them is that when it comes down to division of assets, which is always a bitter topic in divorce, if you have indisputable proof of the affair, it acts sort of like a huge axe hanging over the other person's head. If you go to court to have a judicial division, no judge will be kind to the cheating spouse who killed the marriage, just the way it is, and divorcees know it. The cheater will settle for a smaller division if you can prove what they did. An amicable divorce involving lawyers will still cost you on the order of $1,500 or more. Once you get the proof, you may be able to get out of the divorce for under $100. This is assuming you have no kids. If you do, then you have to pay much more and it will be messy. Anyway, the easy and cheap way to divorce is a pro se divorce. If both you and your soon-to-be ex-wife agree, it is best to split up, and you can easily separate your joint possessions and money. You can rather simply file the correct paperwork to dissolve the marriage. Filing fee will be on the order of $50 or less most likely. You can pick up the paperwork potentially at the Sec. of State office or a courthouse. Ask the clerk of court's office and they should be able to direct you to someone with the proper forms. It may even be online in your state. If you can't find them, call up legal aid and ask if you can swing by and get a copy from them. They will have lots of them. Just thinking out loud here, you could, after obtaining proof of her cheating, start faking alcoholism. Go out every night, withdraw large amounts of money to spend on drinking, rack up a serious amount of debt, except your drinking money actually goes into a sock. When she files for divorce, you should be able to get the debt split 50/50 with the argument that her cheating drove you to drinking. After the divorce, whip out the sock, pay off your debt and laugh evilly as she spends the next decade paying off her share of the debt. Note, this is probably a stupid idea, and likely quite illegal. Or get really drunk and spank in the sock, then give her the sock as your only asset. You should consider sitting tight for now and hiring a private detective. You hanging around in the bushes to take photos can seem controlling and dangerous to a judge. Professionally acquired proof of infidelity will be considered differently. If you get proof she is cheating, you will need to consult a lawyer right away. If you leave the home, it may affect your rights later. You will probably not ever make this evidence public, but use it as leverage to encourage her to be reasonable about what assets she asks for in the divorce, knowing that if the two of you don't reach an agreement it will go to court. The photos will become part of the public record. You will call her boyfriend to testify, and depending on what state you live in, you may be able to sue him. Give up any plans to humiliate her publicly. Once you do that, your leverage is gone and she will be so angry she will try to clean you out in the divorce, and in most states cheating doesn't change her claim to joint property or spousal support. Only the judge's frame of mind while making decisions. You want it over quickly and cleanly with the least financial loss possible. Yes, this pie. They'll do it professionally and probably get more dirt than you bargained for. Just cut the cord and divorce. Even if you are wrong about this time. Sounds like trust between you two is gone. I agree. Divorce is imminent. I just want to do it right. I don't want to do anything illegal that will screw me in the proceedings, but I also don't want to turn the whole thing into a messy war. I'm not trying to get rich from this, just to move on without being bankrupted. Fill your fridge with cake, and every time she goes for a slice, run into the room and smash it out of her hands with an angry look in your eyes. This applies to many situations. Fantastic advice. My spouse is a paralegal in family law, so I've learned a few things from her. Disclaimer, I am not a lawyer, nor is she. This is not legal advice. The first thing you should do is contact a lawyer yourself. I repeat, contact a lawyer. Do it ASAP. Do it before you do anything else, including confronting her, gathering evidence, etc. You pretend you're happy but is fine and life is good until you do this. Now then, as far as divorce goes, when you or your spouse calls a law office, they have to do what is known as an intake call, where they gather your information and basic details on the case. Here's how to be in butthole. If a law office does an intake call on you, by giving the office information about your case, they are ethically bound to not deal with your spouse, because they could do so from a privileged stance, having already heard things from you. So, contact every lawyer in town that's worth a dang, and have them do an intake on you. It's free and you don't have to hire or retain them to do this usually. You'll effectively shut out your wife from getting good legal representation since every office you call won't be able to take her case. But that aside, the most important thing, which is much less butthole and just good common sense, listen to your lawyer. Many people think they know better than their lawyer, someone who has years of experience, and I can guarantee knows the system better than you do. You do not. Your lawyer took almost a decade of schooling and a test that lasts about 4 8-hour days to become a lawyer. They are a pretty smart person. Do whatever he or she says, to the letter. Don't think you know better, or you can one-up them. Don't call your spouse and try to work it out behind your lawyer's back. The way you will come out best in your divorce is by consulting with your lawyer before you do or say anything. Minimize contact with your spouse once the divorce has begun, or now. Don't speak to your wife at all unless instructed to do so. Make copies of all correspondence you have with her, incoming and outgoing. Don't hesitate to use certified mail either to guarantee delivery. Records are your absolute best friend in this. Courts love evidence. The bad news. It's not easy to screw your spouse in a divorce from the standpoint of things. Generally the person with the largest income will get saddled with the most debt, regardless of marital infidelity, so it's not like you can prove she was cheating and that entitles her to take over the mortgage. But again, I don't know how this works. Call a lawyer. TLDR. Call the freaking lawyer and treat them like God. Make secure and certified copies of everything and don't speak to your spouse without your lawyer present. One thing you've forgotten, and is key, is to have the attorney hire a PI for you ASAP. They have a guy, they work well together and this is great for finding out exactly what is going on. Don't call your own PI, use the attorney's guy. In most cases cheating won't become a factor in divorce settlement. You sound like me 3 years ago. The ex was doing exactly the same thing. Don't kid yourself about it, just get out. Do you know why divorce is so expensive? Because it's worth it. I am in Michigan, specifically the Birmingham-Troy area. I would be glad to help with any sleuthing. Are they going shopping at Somerset? I can't tell them and gather intel. I am home on Christmas vacation and bored. It's Michigan after all. I would love to be of service to another Redditor. Please let this happen. Better call Saul. Hire a professional to check up on her. Worth the money. I second this. A private dong can gather evidence without being noticed, especially if it is one that has a group of part-timers including women. I think this is a major portion of their business. A good cheater can get away with it, but most are not knowledgeable enough to cover their tracks. Underwater house, like SpongeBob? I am hoping this is just a joke, but just in case he means they owe more on the house than it's worth. And as we say in our trees, have a pineapple. Hire a private detective, even if it seems expensive. This could potentially save you a lot of money in the long run. I had a boss that did this to catch her husband, and her court battle was relatively easy because of the detective's evidence. -1. Text him from her phone saying you are out of town and to come over at 2 AM and to enter through the patio door. -2. Leave patio door unlocked. -3. Set phone to vibrate at 1:45 and take a pee. -4. Shoot intruder. -5. Profit. Take pictures. Blackmail her for personal assets with the pictures from an anonymous email address. After you get what you want, you're free to email those pictures to yourself. But don't do any of that. That's horrible advice. Letting her know that you know is giving up your position of power for no gain. Let her frick around believing he is too smart to get caught. All the while you should be quietly disposing of your marital assets and stashing them somewhere she could never find them. If you do this correctly, you can walk away with every cent she has in the world and never get caught. For an added bonus, try to get her to take out as much debt in her name as humanly possible while you secretly bank the proceeds. I know you're already divorcing her, and I know there are 790 plus comments already, so it's very unlikely for anyone to see my comment, but I still feel compelled to say this. Once a cheater, always a cheater. You can try all you can to make things work after a cheating incident, but it is very tough. My ex cheated several months ago and we have been trying to make it work. Guess what? She cheated again. She's one of those girls that get along with everybody, the girl that everybody loves. The nice, kind girl, except she has an underlying problem that results in her cheating. So listen to me. For those who may or already have come across a cheater, know that it is very difficult to make it work again for both of you. It takes both sides to make the commitment, not just the victim. Whatever you decide to do with the relationship, make sure the other person is doing whatever she can to change. Leave right away if there is the slightest problem that shows their lack of commitment to change, because you can bet your butt that it will spiral them back into their old selves. People can only go through so much suffering. Looking back at it today, I can see her character more clearly. I can tell you it was not worth all the pain and suffering. If you have to follow her around, it's not worth it. Just turn her loose. You obviously don't trust her. Once the trust is gone, it's over. As a man that had his wife cheat on him, I can say with all certainty that any proof you can bring to the table will only help your cause. Don't be a put about it either. Go for the throat. She did you wrong, man, and you shouldn't be the nice guy about it either. You may have been a doormat during the marriage, but don't be one during the divorce. All bets are off, and she's brought this on herself. She will use every excuse in the book to make you feel like it is somehow your fault. The only way that someone cheating on their spouse is the spouse's fault is if they cheated first. Everything else can be talked through or worked out. No excuse for cheating, and no excuse for staying with a cheater. I hear quite a bit from Redditors who are defending cheaters based on how prevalent extramarital affairs are in this country. This is utter freaking balls. Cheaters make their decisions for themselves. Nothing ever just happens, and the apologists can get fricked, because it's likely that they're cheaters too. Call the lawyer first. If she files first, she may be able to freeze your assets and you won't even be able to afford a hamburger. Good luck finding a place to live with no access to your money, and you certainly wouldn't be able to hire a lawyer of your own. Go see your lawyer. Do exactly what he says. Anything else will either bite you in the butt in court or make you look like an butt in court. Hire a private investigator to check. Get proof and present divorce papers. Proof of infidelity reduces the chances of her getting alimony because she was the one that committed adultery. I am not a lawyer. This should in no way be taken as legal advice. 1. There should be no second chances for cheating or attempted cheating. Remember, had she not been caught before, she would have proceeded to cheat on you. 2. You can get a copy of her texts from the cell company, have another woman call in saying they are her, and get them mailed to your house. Since you are paying for them, and you are married, what's hers is yours and what's yours is hers. So as far as I know, you cannot get in any legal trouble for this. 3. If you find out she isn't actually cheating, which it really sounds like it is, still divorce her. Wait until after Christmas though. Buy her a used ugly sweater from Goodwill and make sure she gets you something good. Then give her her real gift and act like you were totally joking with the ugly sweater. Have it in a jewelry box of some sort, from an expensive jeweler she is familiar with. Inside just have a slip of paper or something that says, "I'm tired of your cheating. It's over." 4. 5. Profit. From what I've heard, cell companies won't give you your texts, and they don't even store them for that long anyway, only a few days or a week. For other reasons, we'd already decided not to buy each other anything for Christmas. Divorce is sadly necessary. For her to even ponder betrayal after your forgiveness and mutual vows, that'd be crazy. Definitely protect yourself and talk to a lawyer as soon as possible, if you have the funds to do so. I hope that this incident doesn't harm your trust for all women. We aren't all conniving cheaters. I wish you the best, and keep your chin up, : I am not a lawyer in your state, and you should not take the following as legal advice, but the opinion of a layperson, which you may want to research. While a divorce court can leave her with the house and order her to make all payments, in the event she fails to do so, your contractual obligation to make payments on the note, assuming you or both of you signed it, do not change. If she defaults, and you don't make the payments, your credit will still take a hit, and the bank can still come after you for any deficiency after the sale results in less than you owe. If it works this way in your state, I am not your lawyer. This is not legal advice. We do not have an attorney-client relationship. I am not licensed to practice law in Michigan, and if you want to know more, you should hire an attorney. Does she have life insurance? Are you the beneficiary? Just putting it out there. Call all the best lawyers in town ASAP, all of them. If you brief them on your situation, they will be unable to represent your wife. This way your odds of having a better lawyer are significantly increased. Don't kiss her anymore. If you do, you're sucking the other guy's dong by proxy. And if she asks why, just tell her that she has dong breath. Case of doubt. Go with truth. You'll hate it, but it's probably worth it. Get proof and divorce. I say yes. My reasoning is that when you go for divorce, if you have proof of infidelity, then you can probably avoid having the court assign half your income to her or whatever. Or if she's making more than you, then it could possibly help you push the mortgage onto her. Also, I think on a psychological level you'll feel better knowing for sure. Hire a PI. Don't do it yourself. She'll see you. Get proof. Build a case, and slam her with a quick divorce showing all evidence of cheating and any other abuse she might put you through. Try and get her to settle quickly. If you don't have kids, quit your job so that alimony payments will go down to nothing. If she makes more than you, make her pay you. If you quit your job prior to divorcing for the purpose of manipulating the outcome, you will find yourself in trouble. The judge will evaluate earnings throughout the duration of the marriage and stick you with paying based on your earning potential anyway. The judge will be at you for fricking with him/her. I've typed 5 comments now and I just keep starting over. I want to say something helpful, or even an insightful anecdote, but everything just comes out wrong. I think the reason I can't come up with an acceptable to me comment is that I'm currently in the same situation. I don't trust her, and I suspect that she's cheating or thinking about it. She and I have both been through this, and we both know how not to get caught. So, excluding some sort of freak accident, I'm never going to know for sure. I'm not slick enough with the computer, and she's savvy enough not to use it. This scenario has been a recurring theme in my life, and I suspect that I have something to do with it, but I really just don't know. One thing I learned from spying on my ex is that it's difficult to glean the context of text messages. It's like, if she read one of my texts, and saw "I love you too" from a female friend, she wouldn't know what it really means, and would assume the worst, when in reality, we're being sarcastic. So, I guess I'll just say sorry, happy holidays and good luck. Divorced at 23 for partner's infidelity. 27 now, married a loving woman 1.5 years ago and my first child was born 1 week ago. Your life is far from fricked. Good luck, and I agree with sentiment that making a smoother divorce will serve you better than trying to bleed her for assets. Please don't listen to the people saying divorce now. Also, don't waste your time catching her in the act. Act like you trust her and hire a pie. Also, lawyer up, unless you have a prenup, of course. You will get much more this way. Been married 2.5 years. In the past 6 months I've caught her make a couple attempts at starting relationships. I stopped reading here. Do whatever you want. If you decide to catch her in the act, be prepared. It sounds really easy to jump in there, click a few pictures then bail. Just make sure you hold your wits about you. This has a lot of potential to be emotionally devastating. Just don't do anything stupid that would land you in jail. I would recommend that you consult with all good lawyers in your area. If you consult with them, then they cannot take your wife's case. By doing this before you let her know of the plans for divorce, you can stick her with a crappy lawyer. I actually went through nearly the same scenario. Married for almost 3 years, bought a house, economy took a dump, and the wife started acting screwy not a month later. For example, being protective of her phone, staying up all night on MySpace. I caught her the first time striking up a relationship with this guy she'd met in a band. We talked it out, with the result being that she only wanted to be with me. Blah blah blah. Her ultimate downfall was that she installed AIM on my Mac in one of her protected user folders, and I'd coincidentally just been looking for it the previous day and knew I hadn't installed it. When I walked by and saw it on the monitor, I knew something was up. It was logging the chats with the same band guy from round 1, and it got pretty incriminating pretty fast. So out came the keylogger. I lawyered up, got detectives, in MD, a Catholic state, you need evidence for an immediate divorce, etc. I did not hit Facebook or hit the gym, because at the time I was not a Redditor and was unaware of the proper process of remaking myself into a boss. I did however get copious prescriptions for mood-altering drugs to endure the pain of laying a trap to get evidence of her indiscretions. That sucked, but suffice it to say, a lot of that was a colossal waste of money and caused more emotional wreckage than it was worth. If you think you can part amicably, out her to her face after you've gotten things arranged with your lawyer. Just tell her you're done, and she clearly wants something else as well. So you guys need to divvy up everything appropriately and civilly, etc. If you think she'll flip to money grubbing B mode or have kids, you have my sympathies. You'll probably need to catch her in the act to have things go in your favor. Incidentally, I just hung out with the ex on Friday. It was the first time in 2 years we'd seen each other. Her relationship with band guy didn't work out and she's now happily on her own. We found out we have more in common now than we had then, and we're a bit sad we hadn't met each other later in life. No worries, Reddit. We're not getting back together. If she's freaking around on you, make sure you get the evidence to make things ironclad. Do not break any laws in the process of doing that. But if she feels it's okay to frick you over, make sure you frick her over. Move to Saudi Arabia. Wait for next occurrence. Wife punished by stoning. Lawyer up. Hit guy named Jim. Delete yearbook. Dude, that hurt. In Kentucky, having proof of infidelity is huge. Even if you put in for the divorce, if she attempts to get alimony, if you're like, yup, proof of cheating, it's an automatic DQ for her. Lawyer up and find out what the deal is with property for your state. Is it just under your name or both your names? If you have the evidence, you can also find out from the lawyer how you can file in regards to her cheating. House is in both our names. Our options are most likely that one of us keeps the house and takes on the full mortgage, or maybe one is ordered to pay some small amount to help with it, or we foreclose on it, or sell it for a lot and take a loan on the difference. That totally sucks, dude. I'd get as much information as I could lay my hands on and let a lawyer decide. Why don't you call a lawyer now? Sounds like you'll need one soon anyway. Might as well get the proper legal advice before she knows what hit her. And play it cool. Remember, the opposite of love isn't hate, it's apathy. I'm so sorry. There is no excuse for what she's done or what she's doing. All I can say is in a few months, when you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, try not to be bitter. Your wife has been a crappy person, but every woman in the world is not like her. You deserve a different kind of woman. Hang in there, comma. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.